Hey you guys, it's Peter and welcome to my channel, My So-Called Healthy Life. So I did my meditations this morning, I got my coffee and I did all that, and some days, I'm just being completely honest, if you guys are buying these meditation books, and you can get whatever ones you want to get, just I think any is great. You can get them at, Goodwill, Half Price Books, Amazon, whatever, but sometimes I read like 5 of them, okay? And sometimes I read 5 and like none of them resonate with me. And I wanted to do one on here today that was kind of powerful, and I was like, none of these are any good. So I literally was just up in my cabinet. I have like 5 more up there, right, that I brought home from my office a long time ago. And so I was like, I'm just gonna pick one out at random, and whatever it says is what I'm supposed to talk about, and the universe is speaking to me. So that's what we're gonna do. And the one I pulled down, I've had forever and ever and ever. And my dad actually got it for me when I first got sober, when I got out of treatment. And he wrote, "Pete, welcome back. We love you, Dad and Deb." That's my dad and my stepmom. So it has a lot of meaning to me. And it's by the author of Day at a Time and A New Day. So these are a lot about like recovery and sobriety. But this one is A Time to Be Free, Daily Meditations for Enhancing Self-Esteem. Which this is one of my all-time favorite meditation books. So anyway, let's go to May 5th. I have not read it. I'm super excited to see what it has to say. On my other video on this channel, we're practicing breathing and mindfulness and staying present. So May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. Our discoveries about ourselves come from many sources, from soul searching, from reading, and from interaction with other people. Perhaps the most overlooked source, however, is the spiritual wellspring we find within ourselves. On occasion, we are provided with important and even profound insights when we least expect them. Most of the time, though, God's wisdom comes to us when we're in a receptive frame of mind. How can we clear the spiritual channel to better know ourselves? Naturally, each of us finds his or her own special way. Some people periodically go on retreats devoted to inner reflection and spiritual development. Others set aside time each day to strengthen their contact with the God of their own understanding. Still others make it a practice to regularly spend time in the place where they feel closest to God. We take these actions in order to build our relationship with God and through his grace to learn more about ourselves. Along the way, we receive other benefits as well. We receive guidance to help us make the right decisions in our lives. We achieve peace of mind. We further our progress in recovery. Thought for today. In my search for self-knowledge, I will pay special attention to the spiritual voice within. It's actually, for me personally, a very profound meditation. I think in reference to the viewer, I hope you're not taking any offense with the language that's used. When I first got sober, I was very agnostic, meaning that I had no belief. I had a belief that something was out there, but I wasn't sure what it was. So anytime I would sit, in a meeting or talk to somebody and they would use the word God, I was like immediately turned off by it. And the interesting thing about that is I grew up going to church. I have no negative situations or events that occur to me. I only have positive moments going to church, but I never internalized it. And I went to a rather liberal Lutheran church. So it wasn't like it was hardcore, or it just wasn't. But I never internalized any kind of spiritual, higher power or belief. I just didn't. God to me was this guy with a beard and it didn't mean anything to me, right? I didn't know how to use that to grow. And, when I got sober, I was actually about 2 years sober. I was actually I was just telling the story to somebody in early sobriety today, and he was asking me, he's like, I know that I believe that there's something out there, but like, I don't know how to find it. And so I'm just going to tell you my story in relationship to this, and take it or leave it, whatever, I have so many people in my life that are very, very spiritual, that are atheists, that have some belief, no belief, whatever. And I think there's room for all of it. And I think you have to stay, open and teachable. And I also think that our spiritual beliefs are very private, even though I'm talking about it openly, but I think how we use it in our life is very private. So, and also the other thing I want to say is that the way that I was taught when I came into a 12-step program was that, religion is for people that are afraid of going to hell, and spirituality is for people that have already been there. And, one of the ways that I kind of helped, and I am not against religiosity whatsoever. My mother was a very devout, strong woman of faith, and went to church every Sunday and was very active in her church. And it was very important to her, and I know a lot of people out there are like that. My mom used to ask me, she'd be like, will you go to church with me? Will you go to church with me? And I was like, Mom, I'll go with you if you want me to, but I just don't get anything out of it. And she'd say, well, like, where do you find your spirituality? And at that point, today it's a lot different. Today for me, it's a lot in like prayer and meditation. But at that point, you know, it was like driving around and listening to music with the windows down. Or, you know, full moon on a clear night. Like, I could see God, I could see a higher power in nature, you know? So what happened was, when I started working on finding a spiritual higher power, I was asked, you know, what are you afraid of? And my biggest fear at that time was death, which I've kind of worked through, strangely, through my mom's own death, or my mom's death. And so the first book that I read that put me on my spiritual journey was The Other Side and Back by Sylvia Browne, the psychic. Okay, now I know she's a fake, I know all that stuff, but the book really helped me kind of imagine for me that there might be some kind of plan to all of this, which then led me to some Native American wisdom, which then led me to some Buddhism, to some Hinduism, to some, you know, like Christianity and something like The Way of the Pilgrim and books like that. And it's really helped me kind of formulate today what my spiritual beliefs are, which is all about, you know, that I believe that I'm here for reasons to improve myself, be the best version that I can be, remain open, remain teachable, and live my life through compassion, love, kindness. And I do believe that there's something out there bigger than me, putting all that in, you know, perspective. And like I said in my vlog last week, like I look at trees, like I got a friend of mine, and he passed away years and years and years ago, but we got sober together. And I used to say to him, like, who's your higher power? And he goes, I look at a tree and I realize I can't do that. So I'm the man that, my higher power is the guy that grows trees. And I love that. It's like whatever you can make sense of in your head, I think is really, really powerful. And if you're not there yet, just start somewhere. Start with, you know, like opening just a book, and you'll know what resonates with you and what doesn't. But I think spirit of the soul can be listening to music, can be taking a walk in nature, can be cooking, can be dancing. I felt so soulful and of the spirit dancing, you know? So what are some ways that you guys feel spiritual or soulful? Not spiritual religious, but spiritual of the soul. Does that make sense? Because once we feel that, we connect with that, we grow and we become stronger as people because we feel really connected to who we're here for, what we're here for, and what our soul is about, okay? I don't know if that makes any sense. I'm not necessarily saying that I think that there's a meaning to everything. I'm saying that to the connectedness of spirit, soul, and our physical bodies. So I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how I see it, right? And when I'm listening to music and I'm dancing, I feel very connected. If there's a full moon, aces, baby. All right, you guys, I will see you back later. I love you. Bye.